Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to the very first episode of the evening show, powered by AIESEC, with Unwinding the Youth as a channel partner, with Odisha Shine as a media partner, and Vice and Damon Doyle as a sustainability partner. So before we go live with Miss Verma over here, I had this one really important thing that I want to talk to you guys about. So recently there have been many rumors going on the internet that 21st June was supposed to be the end of the world. But since I'm sitting here and since you guys are able to view me, we definitely know it's not. And we know that now more than ever, we require leadership because ultimately we know that leadership is a fundamental quality that is required to solve any solutions in the world. And before we get online with this, Mara, I want to talk to you about what are the most important leadership qualities that you feel is required to make the world of tomorrow today. So I would really appreciate if you guys can start commenting on YouTube itself, and we can discuss a bit as to what you feel about it. Okay, so we are waiting for some comments to come, and as soon as the comments start coming in, Doomsday, yes, it is exactly the Doomsday was supposed to be today, but it is not, thankfully. Hi guys, welcome to the evening show with AIESEC, with Unwinding the Youth as our Hi guys, welcome to the evening show with AIESEC, with Unwinding the Youth as a channel partner, with Odisha Shine as a media partner, and with Vyson and Damon Dole as our sustainability partner. So we all know the fact that 21st June was supposed to be the end of the world. But since I'm sitting over here and since you are sitting over there watching me, we all know that it is not. And this more than ever is the time when we require leadership qualities to make sure that the world is functioning the way we want it to function. And before we go online with Ms. Verma, I want to talk to you about what, according to you, are the leadership qualities that is required to shape the world of tomorrow today. And I really appreciate if you guys can start commenting on the live comments, and we'll display it over here if you find any relevant qualities. Empowering others is definitely a leadership quality, and trust me, because ultimately the experiences that we have, and if we can empower those experiences with others, we can definitely bring a change in the life of one person, and we can definitely start a change action that we wanted to. Taking initiatives again, like, yeah, if we don't take initiatives to try new things out, we definitely won't be able to make a difference. Thank you, Avantika. We definitely don't need to be afraid, because if you're afraid to try new things, we'll never be successful in life, and we need to be compassionate. Thank you. So again, before we call Miss Verma online, I want to share what, according to me, the most important leadership quality. According to me, the most important leadership quality is the ability to adapt with change. Because if you're not able to adapt with change, then we won't be able to handle anything that's thrown on us. So with that said, I'm very happy and very humbled to invite Miss Yasha Verma on call with us. Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Hi Shivam, I'm good. How are you doing? Hello everyone. So nice to see you all.
Ma'am, I'm doing good, and we're really, really excited and happy that you're here. So, for people who don't know Miss Marma, she is the account director of LinkedIn Marketing Solutions. And we've got on call with her many times, and every time we have a conversation with her, it's a different new ideology that we understand. So, ma'am, can you tell something about yourself, something about your journey to the viewers right now?
Sure. So I started my career more than 10 years back with hospitality as my background, and I worked with Taj Group of Hotels. Worked there for some time. Then I went to MICA, Mudra Institute of Communications, Ahmedabad, and did my MBA from there. After that, I moved to Network 18, and specifically, I worked with CNBC TV 18 as the channel over there. and worked with media for a little shy of 5 years. And after that, I moved to a startup, worked there for some time, and then finally to LinkedIn. So yes, that has been my professional journey since I started. And if I have to go back and see at my personal journey, it has been from small town to Bhopal to different places across the country. And right now I'm based out of Gurgaon, but yeah, I'm under lockdown in my home, which is Bhopal.
It's Bhopal. Again, it's really amazing to see that, like you said, that you started from Bhopal, and the diverse set of experience you had is something that not many people have. And for that, you had to start from scratch. After you left hotel management, you had to start from the very scratch, do your MBA, do your so that you can enter CNBC TV 18. So can you tell us something about as to what propelled you to do this? Because currently the youth does not is very scared to have a sudden career change.
Yeah, I think now more than ever before, there's a huge pressure on the students, on the youth, that you have to know what you want to do, right? That's why you decide whether you want to pick up science, or you want to pick up maths, or you want to pick up commerce as your subjects, because that's where you want to go and go into. But I feel that the situation really it stands very similar to, I think, how it was earlier, right? Like in my time, I wasn't very sure what I wanted to do, and I made my shifts all the time. So I think it's like completely dependent on what you want to do. When I started with hospitality, how I wanted to kind of grow was very different. My view of the world was very limited, and what I understood rather at that point of time of my career and what I want to make of it was very different from what I learned after working in hotels. And after working with hotels, I realized that I want to kind of grow even further. And I think we talked about it earlier also, that when I used to work with hotels, I used to wonder, uh, seeing people coming from different companies who get to stay for free in these amazing five-star hotels, and I just used to wonder that what do they do that they can actually come and stay here for free? Like, company pays for everything. And from there, I kind of started trying to understand from where can I be someone where I can actually be part of a company that actually sends me and lets me stay in these wonderful hotels. So trying to kind of figure out how to go in such a space, I started learning it way more than what I actually knew at that point of time, and then slowly moved to MBA to get into the corporate world.
Topic was. I'm like again, that's it's always amazing to realize this thing that you wanted a change and you brought that change. So again, talking about your hotel management journey. So how difficult was this change for you? Like, because you were already a manager in Taj, and from there you had to leave everything behind and be a college student again. And so how was this change for you?
In all honesty, it wasn't very difficult. What I knew in hotels absolutely gave me a different set of skills, a different set of learning. But when I went to my MBA school, in MICA, the learning was very different. What we were talking about was very different, and I was more than happy to be a student. And in all honesty, the learning and being student is a constant in life. Like, that is something which you always keep on doing. So I am a student at every phase of life. And yeah, I mean, in terms, probably every day I learn something new, and I think at that moment everybody's a student. So it wasn't very difficult for me. I did not have any ego issues. I did not have any difficulty in accepting new tricks of trade, or new lessons from not just my professors but also my peers, because people came from diverse backgrounds. They knew a lot of new things, and it was a great journey in MICA also.
So again, I'm really happy that you gave the viewers a different definition of a student altogether. Student is not someone who attends college, but students is someone who continuously keeps on learning something. So even when you were in college doing the MBA and you had already passed, like, and you were already a manager, so like, what exactly did you learn working in a hospitality field, and like, how do you inculcate those learnings, like, in your MBA journey, post MBA journey, or currently even working in LinkedIn?
Absolutely. So there are, I think, of course, there are different things that you learn in hotels. If you just look at how they work in a very defined manner. In hotels, you don't generally, while you work in hotels, you don't generally innovate things. Like you don't come up with new ideas. There's a set standard procedures, and you just follow that because every hotel is supposed to maintain it, right? Like every Taj hotel will smell the same way. It will always be different from an Oberoi. Similarly, how the bed is made will be very, similar to other Taj hotels. So every hotel has a very set way of working, and that is something that you follow. So in hotels, what I learned was mainly, the different standards that people follow, why things are done the way things are done. And to add to my personal, learning, right? Like, I was from Bhopal, small town, and I think it's very similar to how Bhubaneswar town is,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, at my point of time, the exposure was even less, right? So the whole idea of learning, a very glamorous and glittery world of five stars and what happens there and why it happened was a different learning altogether. But I think what I really took from hotels as my learning are two things. One is hard work, and second, dignity of labor, right? Like, so, I mean, I remember very easily sitting down and eating in the cafeteria with, people who we generally call waiters, right? So I've sat down and had lunch and dinners with them. Room boys, they all were my friends. They all were like part of the same family because you're working in the same place. So you learn a lot of that, and of course, hard work is insane. Like. I don't think anybody really understands what hard work is unless they have worked in a place like hotels.
Hotels, yeah.
Yeah, you go in the morning, you come back in the night. It is long, it is tiring physically as well as mentally. Physically, of course, because you don't sit there, you're always standing, you're on your toes to kind of help and cater to the needs. And then of course, if you are you're mentally tired also, because you just have to keep smiling there always. You cannot afford to not smile. You might be having a bad day, but you have to keep smiling. So it's mentally draining. But you really learn what hard work is over there.
Yeah, and I really appreciate, like, I remember the very first time we went on call with you, you said this one line that has always been there at the back of my mind ever since then. That hard work also means breaking barriers. And I think maybe it's like, your like experience in hotel management actually made you do that. Maybe putting up a smile every day, maybe getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and staying there till 11 o'clock at night. And that's something that, like, honestly we youth cannot do. We want comfortable life. We don't even want a 9 to 5 job. We want to stay at home and work and play. That's it. So
No, trust
like,
me, everyone wants to do that. But I think when someone is put into that space, I'm very sure that it's not that youth has kind of forgotten what hard work is or something. I think that the moment you're put into that place where you have no other option but to work hard, you start working hard, and and you know that it's going to take you somewhere nice.
I mean, yeah, again, thank you for defending us. Yeah, because I understand maybe, like, it's important to be in a situation where your leadership qualities are tested, and maybe that's when we get to know what our true potential is. So, again, like, coming back to your journey, so you completed your MBA, and after that, you joined Network 18, CNBC TV Network 18. And after that, you left CNBC TV Network 18 and joined the startup where you were handling business development. And after that, you are currently LinkedIn as an account director for marketing solutions. So again, what propelled you to actually go to that change? Because it's again a very different curve altogether.
From Network 18, again, Network 18 was a different place altogether. and then from network 18 to the startup, and startup to LinkedIn. Um, uh, I worked with network 18 for around 5 years. It's a long time, and I felt that the kind of things I was doing, and my learnings had kind of uh, become stagnant. I wasn't kind of learning new things. I felt that I wasn't presented with the challenges that could make me excited, and feel amazing about tackling them, because I knew by then how to handle things internally, how to uh, you know uh, just I just knew my way around in the organization. It became very, very simple for me. And then I felt that I'm not learning enough. So that was the time then I moved to a startup. And of course, like startups also, when I moved, and I think they still are, if we take out COVID as the situation right now, I think they still are very, very lucrative employers, because they have very different work culture. They give you a very open slate, very clean slate to work on. You have, like you don't have procedures set. You don't have any manual that you can follow over there, right? Like it is new, so you set it up from the very beginning. It was like it's amazing. Like when I entered network 18, I was given a seat. I was told that this is your laptop. I was given that the set of things that I am supposed to do, and I just used to do that. But when I joined startup, it was very, very different, right? Like the initial 15-20 days, I just worked from home because we did not have an office. Then we got an office, and I remember having conversations with the guy who was selling the CCD machine for the office, to the maid who would come and clean the office. So we started from literally scratch over there, right? Like and then of course, then we kind of worked over there and grew it, and in a couple of weeks, we made it quite, so to say, functional as an office, and we started working over there. Also, the number of people were very few, and the functions that I was handling were many, right? Like there was a lot of overlap on what I'm doing, and it was great learning. That was also amazing, amazing learning. So of course, like that shift also was there, and I felt that that shift made me learn a lot. And of course, from there I moved to LinkedIn, which was again new for me, because it was a digital background, right? Like I had never worked in a purely digital background, which was operated at a scale of LinkedIn. So of course, like learning digital altogether completely from scratch, understanding the product, understanding my clients' needs, and be able to kind of provide them the right solution was something that I learned here. But all the three learnings that I talked about right now here was like these learnings were really, really important for me to be able to feel confident the way I feel right now. So it was great, kind of changing my streams and learning.
And like, this is something that I really appreciated about your entire journey, that you realize the importance, the value of personal growth. Because again, there are so many people who just are like, tired of staying at their dead end job because there's no growth, there's no promotion, but they cannot afford to leave it. And the fact that
Yeah,
you wanted that change, the fact that you had the courage to go for that change, and leaving something as Network 18 behind and joining a startup, and again leaving the startup and joining LinkedIn, that's an amazing, that's an amazing experience. And thank you for like sharing this message with us, that for the importance of personal growth, and as to how it is really still relevant in the professional market. So before we can like move ahead with like more question answer, we want to take like have a light session about college experience sharing, because considering that I'm still in college, me is still in college, and you were in college like I don't know, maybe a decade back if I'm not wrong. And so just want to talk to you about as to how college situation was there back for you. Can you tell us something about attendance, like how compulsory was it for you to attend classes?
Yeah, I think my college times were, of course, different from yours. However, I'm not very sure how colleges now are, but I think, of course, technology and social media, etc., has penetrated lives of youth, lives of students right now, way deeper compared to how much it was in our times. So definitely that one particular aspect is something that kind of makes it different. But we definitely used to have our share of fun. We used to find some classes really boring and
Mhm.
cumbersome. Some classes were a lot of fun, and we really used to look forward to them. We had our, favorite professors. We had those hangouts, and especially in Maika, we had this place called Chota, which was a canteen. I think it was over 24/7, and I think it was everyone's favorite spot to just kind of go and chill, so to say. So we all used to go there, and we used to sit there with our favorite professors, used to have really long conversations, and it used to be a lot of fun because our professors were really not like professors. We used to
Wow.
go and talk to them, and we used to really, have a lot of fun, and they were really open to discuss, anything under the sky that you can think of. And I don't think anybody ever discussed books or lectures or lessons from the classroom. So it was amazing at that point of time. We also internally, as students, together, we used to spend a lot of time. We used to sit and go out, talk, roam around, create things together. We used to find people with similar interests, and kind of, I remember there was a group that used to learn dance. Like, there were two, three people who were really good at dance in our group, and then they all created a group where they said that, all right, let's learn dance. And then there were people who were really good with theater, and they kind of started pulling off really great plays in theater. So yeah, like, there were these groups of people, and everybody used to find, like, people with similar interests, used to get together and do that. And of course, there were lots of chats, lots of discussions of about, I think, everything from what is happening in the current, uh, as far as current affairs are concerned, to probably who's dating whom, or anything under the sky, right? So it used to be across, and it used to be a lot of fun. And I think you guys do the same. Probably you guys use social media a lot right now, but it's similar. Am I right, or am I wrong?
So it's like honestly it's a bit too much different because currently we don't have anything as favorite lecture. We barely have 40% attendance, and we still get to give exams to that, which is very funny. And
Yeah.
the part that you said that you would sit in the college cafeteria with college professors and discuss about books about current topic, that actually made me very jealous because we don't have anything like that. The only interaction we have with the teachers outside classes when we are running after them to make sure attendance is not getting affected because you're busy sleeping in our rooms. So
So that
anyway,
has happened with us also. That has happened with us. I remember people used to come like 40 minutes after the lecture, just saying, "May I come in?" so that they can just get the attendance. That hasn't changed much. And
so
you
the
guys,
only thing that
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
so I was saying the only thing that has changed since then is the number of people that do this has increased exponentially. So
Yeah, and I mean, are you guys, are some students part of MBA also, or is everyone in graduation space right now?
like in my college, like it's very diverse. We have engineering going on, we have BBA, we have MBA, we have law, we have biotech. So like it's
Okay.
spread over. So we have
All right.
everything. So we get to interact with a lot of people. So like just one last question on this fun note. So we actually just gave our exams a couple 2 3 weeks back, and the entire examination was held virtually. And honestly, since it was held virtually, it was a very like it was a walk under empty candy store and take any candy because we had an internet connection, we had mobile phones, we had all the notes right in front of us while giving the exam. So almost everyone passed with colorful marks. So was cheating the very same when you were in college with a decade back?
I think, yeah, I think yes. Especially, I remember during my graduation time, I remember people used to cheat a lot. I wasn't a big cheater. I was really, really scared to carry chits or kind of, do anything. But yeah, I remember people, cheating, trying to cheat at least. Like, I remember this one guy who carried some chits with him and he hid them in the washroom. And he thought that whenever I have to kind of go and refer to them, I'll just say I need to use the washroom. And and he went, to kind of check something, and the other guys were banking on him to go and get the information and come back so that he can disseminate in the room. But yeah, like, he came back and he was really, really furious, saying that the janitor actually threw the threw the chits away. So someone came, clean the washroom, and threw the chits away. So yeah, I think it used to happen, and people try to kind of do that, but yeah, I think it's a constant. I mean, the more rules are there, the more people are going to try and break them.
Exactly.
So yeah, yeah, and of
So
course,
like,
like, yeah.
Ani, sorry, say.
No, I was just saying that, of course, especially when there are students involved, they are more inclined to kind of, break the rules and do things that they don't want to. So I can imagine that completely. Yeah.
So like I want you to be rest assured that we've learned from the mistakes that was made during examination at your times, and we stopped using chits altogether. We started something called a micro Xerox, where we just simply go get the entire syllabus Xerox in like in a book that is almost the size of our palms, and we can simply go in the examination hall, open that book, and simply vomit the entire thing out on the paper. So
So
that's how.
like, is it? Then you have to go through everything to know where is the answer, because that is also a time consuming part, right?
So like we get that thing, we actually get a set of big notes from our professors, and we simply get that done, like get that micro Xerox, and we basically know where the where to cheat, because even we know that you need to be smart enough to do to cross the boundaries like that also.
Right,
So like
right, right,
that's
right.
how we do it. So anyway, like going from the college experience to the conversation that we were having about the diverse experience that you've had. So how were you able to connect the dots? Like there's this one very famous quote by Steve Jobs that you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So can you like tell me how were you able to connect the dots by making sure that you were able to inculcate every experience you've had in your current life, be it from hotel management to your startup life to your current LinkedIn work?
I don't think I honestly tried to connect dots. I just looked forward and I kept moving. I generally look back when I have to make my CV or something like that. It's only then I look back and think about, what all I have done, and, why the path I have taken is the path I have taken. And honestly, I just kept working hard. I kept following what I wanted to do, what I felt like doing, what, kind of uh, what made me happy, like what piqued my interest. So things, whatever kind of were I found interesting, I kept doing. And uh, I don't think I am yet there to say that I want to look back and start connecting the dots. I am still kind of having those dots where they are, and let's see when they connect, but not honestly right now. No. Yeah.
So like just one last question from mine. Like imagine if you got a time machine and you could travel back to your very first day of college, maybe the very first day of your hotel management college, and whatever's going to happen until the year 2020 in your professional life. Would you have done anything differently? What would you have done anything?
um would have I done anything differently? um no, I think things really fell in place perfectly. I think I and now, I mean, there are smaller things that I could have probably paid attention to, one particular thing, or I could have done something else, which is not very different, like, but I do see myself landing into the space that I am right now. So I don't think I would change something which will make, a drastic change in my life right now. I probably definitely, there's one thing that I for more than 10 years. I had not been able to spend like a good amount of years with my family. But due to lockdown, that also happened, right? So I am not very worried about, um, I mean, I think I would not have changed anything
So
in
that's
a
amazing.
larger sense. Yeah.
So what is next for you? Like you're currently working at LinkedIn, and like at one point, like I hope that you would want to change from like this also. So if yes, so like what is next for you? What's the next thing that you're looking forward for?
I actually don't have anything specifically planned as of now for my future in professional space, but I definitely do want to do something to contribute to the society. It has been on my mind for some time that I want to actually uh, help girls from smaller towns like Bhopal to be able to crack interviews, or help them create CVs, or help them understand what to talk about them, how to tackle interviews, etc. It's something that has been on my mind. I see a lot of these big bazaars, etc., that have come up now in Bhopal also. And the checkout counters, you see, young people who are doing the cashier work, and if you compare them with their counterparts in, say, a bigger city or a metro, you realize how there is a difference in the way they tackle their customers, etc. So there's a lot of things that you can help them understand, so that they can be better professionals. So I have been thinking. I have not been able to kind of decide what I want to do, but I definitely want to do something like this in my life, and that is something which is on my next list, and I'm still kind of figure out how it is going to shape
Okay.
up. But that's there on my list.
And I really hope that like you've crossed off so many checkpoints from your list. I really hope that you do this because it's an amazing initiative that you want to do.
Yes,
And
I hope.
fingers crossed, yeah. So
Yeah,
moving into the very last part of this entire episode that we're having, we're going to take certain questions from the viewers who've been like understanding and listening to your experience so far. So the very first question we have is from Rohit, and he's asking, what is that one piece of practical advice you would give to someone who's starting from scratch?
Um, Hi Rohit, thank you for the question. I think if you are starting from scratch, be hungry to learn is the most important thing, and don't let your confidence go down at any point of time. Don't think that you don't know something, and that's why you are a back foot ever, because you are there to learn, and learn and kind of grow from there. So that is the idea, and that's all I would say.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering this question. And I hope that even like Rohit says, like when you answer this question, I remember this again one quote from Steve Jobs: "Stay hungry, stay foolish." So I
Yeah.
hope, yeah. So we have another question from Ayush, and I mean this is a very like I really like this question because once I think everyone has hit rock bottom. So what Ayush is asking, what do you do when you hit rock bottom?
um, I think what I do generally is that I kind of try to I give myself some time to feel bad for myself, and then I pick myself up, and just start planning as to how I'm going to kind of move forward from there. Uh, and there are rock bottoms at every stage in life, and they sometimes are very frequent. Sometimes they come not so frequently, but they're always there. And the idea is that we should not really think that that is the end, and just try to kind of start planning how to kind of make up after whatever has happened. So yeah, that's all it is. Like, put in all your energies into the next level of your own growth, how you're going to grow from there.
And like, thank you for amazingly putting this answer. And this again, this one quote that I read that when you hit rock bottom, the only direction which you can move is upwards. So I mean, maybe that's how we take it to the next level. And we have another question from Sneha that how do you know that the career that you're choosing is apt for you?
This is Sneha, right? Um, so,
Snehashil.
uh, Sneha, basically, you I don't know if you ever know whether this career is the right career for you or not, especially when you are beginning. I chose something very different in the beginning, and then of course I changed it from what I started with. So you just go ahead with your first instinct, right? Like if you feel like, okay, this is what I want to do right now and I see it as something I can tackle, go ahead and pick it up, and it's completely okay if you feel that it is not something which is going to work for you. There is always at least one door open for you to exit from there and enter into another space. So, even if you have like confusion, you don't know whether it's going to be right or not for you. Uh, just go with the choice that is most appealing to you, and give your 100% to it. You will figure out whether it works for you or not, and if it does not, feel free to walk out. There's nobody stopping you at any point of time, and just enter the new space that you want to.
And like again, thank you for saying this because when one door closes, there are hundred of other doors open, and it's only up to us if you want to open that door or not. So I mean, thank you for amazingly putting it out there. So we are going to take this one last question, and I think this one last question is something that's very required. Maybe they just want some suggestion from your end. So Avantika is asking that if you could suggest the current youth who are staying at home, the current college students, certain professional skills that they should have so that they are better ready to take on the professional world.
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
So this question is from Avantika that if you could suggest the current college students certain professional skills that they should have so they're better ready for the corporate world that is coming their way.
All right. From from a student's perspective, if you want to kind of get into of course, in the professional world, what you should, there are some very basics that everyone is expected to know when you are even entering into the professional world. Things like say the industry that you're entering, right? So say for example, if you know that you're going to work in the financial space, know the financial industry, what is happening in the world, what is happening in India, who are the major players, what is their story, which ones are the number one, number two, number three players. Try to know about your functions. So say for example, if you want to be in marketing, you know um, uh, l- try to learn a little about marketing, and the most important thing is try to develop your views, try to have your own opinion, try to have try to have a thought that you can discuss with someone when you meet. And most important thing about students who are just entering professional world is that all those who have been working in the professional realm for a lot of time, uh, uh, they start lacking the quality of fresh thinking, right? Like because we have been working for so long, and we kind of live and breathe certain data sets, certain values, certain communications that we are kind of constantly consuming. So all those things shape up how we think, and all of us really appreciate when we hear something new. So students bring in a fresh perspective, and it is really really important that when you enter a professional world, you can bring in your authentic individual perspective on the table, which is going to kind of start helping to shape yourself as a professional, especially in the eyes of people who are already there.
I mean, thank you for this is something that is very required because everyone's perspective is different, and you might never know whose perspective brings about the change that is required. So again, before ending this episode, and thank you so much before because I've had an amazing conversation with you. So Isaac and Bhuvneshwar actually wanted an opinion. Again, connecting to the very first conversation I was having with the viewers, and they wanted your opinion on this. That what, according to you, is that one leadership quality that is required to shape the world of tomorrow today?
Um, I think the most important thing is compassion. Is this is something which I have learned in LinkedIn. I have seen, all leaders from the last CEO Jeff Weiner to to, to, to my own bosses, to my colleagues, so to say. Uh, Everyone has this amazing, compassion that they show towards each other. And if you're unable to show that, every other quality of leader, no matter how intelligent, how sharp, etc., they are, if they lack this one quality, that they are not compassionate towards others, you cannot lead others, because you're dealing with people and you need to deal with people with compassion. So I think for me, I really believe, and LinkedIn has helped me kind of really understand that compassion is the most important quality, where that one has to have to be a good leader.
I mean, like the way you put it, actually, compassion seems like the very basic quality which maybe makes you differentiate between a boss and a leader. And maybe compassion is what we require to help everyone around us move forward instead of us only moving forward. And thank you so much for putting this out there, because this is a very rare view when someone says that compassion is required. So it was again great having a conversation with you, and seeing from the comments, I'm very sure that whoever's doing it, might have learned something that they'll definitely take back. And we were really, really grateful to have you here. And thank you so much for being here with us. And have a good night.
Thank you so much. It was amazing chatting with you, chatting with the student community. Made me feel a little young also, so good. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night, ma'am. So, guys, this was it for the very first episode of the evening show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something back from it and understood why this theme was put for this event. And with that said, this is not the end. We have another episode coming exactly at this time, exactly next Sunday. And I hope that if you guys took something back from me, you guys are here next week also enjoying this episode. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and I hope to be hearing from you soon.